Hello everybody, I'm Jude and this is Lammy and together we are Little Lamb Tales. Welcome to this week's story time and remember you can always follow us on Facebook or join us on Twitter. We've got a great story this week but Lammy gets a bit scared in this one, don't you Lammy? So hopefully you'll help him to feel brave. Here we go. You might know this story. If you do, you can join in with the bits that you know. Long, long ago, when the whole of this area was covered in woods, there was a cottage at one side of the woods. And in that cottage lived a little girl and her mummy. And the little girl used to like going out and collecting flowers, and she'd take them to see her grandmother, who lived in the cottage on the other side of the wood. And to keep her nice and warm, her mummy had made her a lovely red cloak with a beautiful hood. And so, eventually everyone started to call her Little Red Riding Hood. One day, her mummy said, "Poor Granny's not been well. I want you to take this basket of food over to her cottage to make sure she gets something good to eat." And Mummy packed it full of soup and bread rolls and fruit and lots of healthy things. "But remember," said Mummy, "do not speak to anybody and do not stray from the path. Go straight to Granny's." "I will," said Little Red Riding Hood, and off she set, swinging the basket as she went. Now as she went, she thought, "I should take Granny some flowers too. She'll love that." But, to get the flowers, she left their path. And off she went, gathering pretty flowers ready for Granny, and she put them all in her basket. When who spied her from behind the tree? It was the wolf. And the wolf crept forward and suddenly appeared and said, "Hello, Little Red Riding Hood. Where are you going?" She said, I'm not supposed to talk to anybody. My mummy said, "Oh, don't be daft. I'm perfectly safe and perfectly friendly." "Well, you see, what it is I'm taking this basket to my granny. She lives in the cottage on the other side of the wood. She's not been well, and I'm hopefully going to take this to her to make her feel better." "Well, isn't that a lovely thing to do?" "I won't keep you. I'll see you around. Bye," said Mr. Wolf. "Well, he was very nice," said Little Red Riding Hood, and she carried on her way. But of course, Mr. Wolf had not just gone. He ran all the way to Granny's house, and he knocked on the door. And Granny said, "Who's there?" And the wolf put on a voice. "Hello, Granny, it's me, Little Red Riding Hood. Oh, you sound a bit strange today, dear. In you come." And in went the wolf, and he tiptoed over to the bed, and he gobbled Granny up in one woof. And then he put on her nightcap and her nightie, and he got into her bed, and he waited for Little Red Riding Hood to arrive. And soon she did, and she knocked on the door. "It's me, Granny." "Come in, dearie," said the wolf, trying to sound like Granny. "Oh, Granny, you must have a sore throat. It doesn't sound like you." And in went Little Red Riding Hood, and she tiptoed over to the bed. "Oh, Granny, you don't look at all well. You don't look like yourself at all." "Come closer, child. I can't hear you." "Oh, Granny, what big eyes you've got." "All the better to see you with, my dear." "Oh, Granny, what big ears you've got." "All the better to listen to you, my sweet," said the wolf, pretending to be Granny. "Oh," said Red Riding Hood, "Granny, what big teeth you've got." "All the better to eat you with," said the wolf, and he pounced on Little Red Riding Hood. But she ran as fast as she could, and she screamed, "Help, help, somebody help!" And she ran around the house screaming, "Help!" Well, luckily for Little Red Riding Hood, there was an axe, a woodcutter with his axe in the woods nearby, chopping down the trees. And he heard her screams, and he came running with his axe, and he took his axe and he chopped at the big bad wolf until the wolf lay on the floor, and he split open his tummy, and out came Granny. She was a bit shaken, but at least she was okay. And after that, Little Red Riding Hood and the woodcutter and Granny went back to Little Red Riding Hood's house. And you know something? The woodcutter and Little Red Riding Hood's mummy decided to get married. And they all decided they'd live in that house together with Granny too. And they lived happily ever after. The end. Thank you very much for joining us. We hope you enjoyed that and we hope you weren't too scared like Lammy. Are you okay now, Lammy? He's okay. So join us next week for story time again. Bye, everybody.